We can start now. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, our dear listeners from wherever you are. My name is Stella Lomeling, and I'm a South Sudanese lawyer, of course, and I'll be serving as your moderator for our today's discussion. You will be hearing a presentation about challenges facing female lawyers in South Sudan. But before we get started, I would like us to take a few minutes from your time to give you a brief introduction about the South Sudan women advocates. A lot of us have been hearing about South Sudan lawyers, South Sudan advocates, South Sudan female lawyers. So I would like us to know what is this body and when was it established. The Women Advocates Association in South Sudan, which was founded in the year 2012, but officially registered at the Ministry of Justice in 2013. And re-registered with Relief and Rehabilitation Commission, the RRC, in 2020. Registration number 3188 on the 2nd of September 2022. The association has a team of specialized professionals and competent female advocates with profound experiences in corporate affairs, assets, bankruptcy, administration, constitution development, regulations, and others. Additionally, WAS focuses on provision of free legal aid services and consultancy to the most vulnerable group, more especially women. They target more especially women, the vulnerable women, by providing them legal aid, free legal aid, legal awareness, and then presentation before the courts, legal presentation. So WAS also organized trainings, programs, seminars, and workshops, and ethics, and conduct leadership legal procedures in any related matter to the public, and conduct legal research and analysis as may be required, and provision of legal literacy program to the public through media, workshops, seminars, and others, and mentor young women interns, law students, and paralegals. The association as well has participated in some trainings abroad. In the year 2021, it has participated in the East African Law Society workshop, which was conducted in Zanzibar. The year 2022 also, it has also participated in the same workshop in Arusha, Tanzania. Now we are going to start with our discussion. But before we start with our discussion, I have a group of female lawyers who are with us here. I would like also to introduce you and give a brief introduction about these lawyers so that you may know them. We have with us here in the studio, Martha Jobe Jeremiah Swaka. Martha is an advocate and commissioner for oath. Ms. Martha Swaka is a former magistrate of the Juba County Court. She currently practices law as an advocate at Azar and Company Advocates, a private legal firm in Juba, South Sudan. Ms. Martha core practice area in a civil and criminal litigation. She is detail-oriented, conscientious, and organized advocate with passion for legal support. Ms. Martha is a Secretary General for the Women Advocate Association in South Sudan, an association of female advocates established to provide legal support to vulnerable sections in the society, most especially women, children, and persons with disabilities. The association also aims to capacity build women advocates through training programs for full realization of their profession goals. This is a small introduction about Martha. Our second panelist, we have Honorable Atong Ajuk. She'll be joining us shortly, but I'd also like to introduce Atong is a lawyer by profession and a trained journalist who heads the board of directors of South Sudan Media Authority. Atong is a human rights lawyer and a women's rights activist. She's a member of board of National Alliance of Female Lawyers. She's also a member of South Sudan Association Women's Advocate. Atong participated in the review of the security sector law, elections, and political parties law in 2018. This is about Honorable Atong Majuk. Our third panelist is Advocate Counsel Susie William Nguyen. Susie is a human rights lawyer. She believes in equality, rule of law, and access to justice. She's an independent researcher, consultant, and advocate with focus and expertise on a wider range of issues, including justice, peace and security, judicial reform, women and girls' rights, women, peace and security, and transitional justice. Ms. Susan had additional years of training in mediation, peace, and conflict resolution. She previously served as a national coordinator of transitional justice, where she works closely with the members' organization of justice and accountability to support the implementation of Chapter 5 of the peace agreement with various stakeholders, including the Transitional Justice Working Group, the TJWG, through the Justice Advisory Group. The Justice Advisory Group stands for JAG. Susan is a practicing advocate licensed by the South Sudan Bar Council. She previously served as a managing advocate at Prudential attorney and legal consultant firm that handles both criminal and civil cases. She is the founder of the National Alliance of Women Lawyers that works to promote and protect women and girls' rights to ensure the effective implementation of women's peace and security and the end of the violence against women and girls. This is about Susie William. Our fourth panelist is going to be Miss Media Livia. Media is a lawyer. She's a graduate of the Catholic University of East Africa with a Bachelor of Law in 2019. She's a member of the South Sudan Bar Association and was licensed in December 2020 and is now a humanitarian worker. Ms. Livia currently working as a gender and inclusion coordinator. So, dear listeners, this is about our panelists for today. Now we are moving to our discussion. Our session, please. Let's go to our sessions. And here we are going straight to the first questions. Miss Media, in few sentences, tell us about your journey to this point. Tell us more about your work and what motivates you to continue to be efficient in your work.
Thank you so much, Stella, for giving me this opportunity. As stated earlier, I'm by name Livia Oliver. I'm a lawyer by profession and a humanitarian worker at the same time. Um, Talking about my journey has not been an easy one. Of course, in every success, before you reach your goals, there are always challenges that you face before you reach where you want to reach. There's no journey which is easy or which is successfully. So it has been a tough one, but I thank God today I'm where I am. To begin with, first of all, for me to be a lawyer, it wasn't something that was someone forced me to become a lawyer. It was when I was in school, in high school, I realized the injustice that was being perpetrated against people, women, girls, especially. And then I wanted to be someone who stands to voice, like the voice for the voiceless. So I felt like the only way I can be able to defend people or to stand to talk on behalf of people who are not able to voice out is by becoming a lawyer. So that is what motivated me to go and study law. When I decided to do so, I knew, of course, I'm coming from a very humble background. I was not from a family that can actually afford to pay my law school tuition fee, but I just said, with God, everything is possible. For me, to even start, it was very difficult because when I finished my high school in 2012 after my Sudan school certificate, there was no opportunity for me or any plan to go back to school. But I just said with God, everything is possible. That is what I determined myself that I want to do. I believed one day it will come to pass. So it even took me like 2 years at home. I applied to the University of Juba. It took me 2 years for them to admit me. And then when they admitted me, they gave me a different course, which I was not interested in. But my interest was one day I want to become a lawyer. I want to be someone who talks on behalf of people. I want to voice those who are not able like to give out their voice. I should be there to be their voice. So because after the high school I got something small I was doing as with the humanitarian organization. I was able to save some little money that took me to school. In fact, I went to school on my own. When it comes to university, nobody really supported me. But when I reached there, thank God I got someone who saw the determination in me, the passion in me to study law. The person offered to help me to go to school. And then the person decided that I have to go to study in Nairobi. That I never dreamed of because I was from a very poor background and nobody was there to really help me. Indeed, I was able to go to school to Nairobi. I then studied law and my dream came true. So in the process, it was not easy. Even there was a time I was almost dropping out because of tuition issues, but because of the help of some people, I was able to finish. So it has not been an easy journey. It has been really a tough one, but I thank God I'm here today. And then I've been able also to work with the marginalized people, especially the women and the girls. Since I came back from school, I've been working with the women and the girls, and that is what I determined myself to do since when I was still at school. And today, I'm able to work with them. I'm able to raise their voices. That is what makes me really happy, despite the challenges that I face throughout the process. In brief, that is how my journey has been. I cannot, of course, narrate all the challenges that I face throughout, but I believe in everything. When you are passionate, when you are determined to do something, it can really happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Livia. It is really so encouraging. And thanks a lot for the determination and the challenges that you have gone through. It had made you the person you are today. Thank you very much for determination. I hope our young women will learn also from this and become the people they dream to be like. I know it's not easy to go through all this, but you manage. Congratulations. And now, Susie William, it's back to you. Susie, let me hope you're
Susie, let me hope you're
hearing
hearing
me.
me. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
All
me?
right.
All right. Yeah.
The floor is
The floor is
very well.
very well. Okay. Thank you so much, and thank to Women Intellectual for giving me the opportunity and giving us the platform to share our stories and to also highlight some of the challenges. So, as a South Sudanese, we all have similar stories, but we have different experience because South Sudanese has been growing in different part of the world, either refugees overseas, especially in the Western world, or being refugees in the neighboring countries or across Africa, or even as a displaced person. And I'm one of the people who was internally displaced from a very young age, and I grew in my entire life. Actually, I grew in Eastern Equatoria. I came to Eastern Equatoria as a very young age. I think around 5 years. That's when we came to this side of Eastern Equatoria, and my education has been supported through the humanitarian educations, through JRS, through other UN agencies that opened for us school at the time. South Sudan was struggling. South Sudanese were struggling for independent or through the entire time of 21 years of war. So my education was very up and down, just not at my personal capacity, but it was a general problem to all South Sudanese children at the time who were displaced due to war. But of course, I always talk proudly that if there were no humanitarian organizations, some of us would have not had the opportunity to go to school, not because our families did not want to allow us to go to school, but because we were at the time the country was at war. So as a displaced child, experienced similar with children who were displaced out of South Sudan at the time. And that's why I'm saying South Sudanese generation, my generation experienced the same. So I went to school in Eastern Equatoria, and some of the humanitarian organizations, especially JRS. I want to say JRS because JRS offer us scholarship to study in Uganda, and that's how some of us went to Uganda, and it was a very good start. I went to Uganda, I finished my high schools, and then at the time also, Sudan peace was signed. That is the CPA. At the time, I was at school, at high school, and I was very lucky that South Sudan experienced a relevant peace at the time. Sudan in general, before we became independent, and my father, I was not. I didn't have a dream of being a lawyer, but I have a dream of being a politician from a very young age. Like I want to be a leader. I want to speak for women. And because growing up as a child displaced by war, I have seen a lot of issues. I have seen suffering. Children were malnourished. I saw children going starving. I saw women dying because they are giving birth. I saw so many things. And also, I saw I heard of issues of rape that were not discussed at the time because of the taboo, I believe. Because I remember there was one case of rape that was discussed at the time I was, I think, a teenager. I think around 15, 16, I had something. But later on, I came to realize that was a rape case. But because of the traditions and the belief around the people, it was not discussed in a way that we need to be aware as young girls, you see? And from that time, I realized there were so many issues going around the community affecting women. I also saw girls dropping out of school when we were in primary school, young girls getting earlier pregnancy, girls being forced married. I saw them. I grew in a community where those incidents were happening, to young women, and I was not really happy. But then when I went to high school, my focus was to be an agriculturalist. I was very good in agriculture. I was also very good in biology. I loved to work. I used to love to be a nurse. So I have so many things that were more of health issues and also profession that were covering issues to do with humanity, especially at the health sector. But my father actually was the one who told me, look, you are going to be very good as a lawyer. And I wasn't happy. In fact, I joined Makerere University, but my father came one semester later and took me to Khartoum. At the time, I don't know Arabic. I know nothing. I was very angry. But when I went to law school, I was very happy because I was able to understand, and I start developing a lot of interest, and where I was seeing myself, I could really use my talent and my skills to help South Sudanese. Okay, long story short, we became independent. 2 years later, I graduated and I was in the market practicing. I saw a lot of issues. I went to the court. Issues of land were being discussed. Women were denied inheritance because their husbands died. When I was a trainee, I was with my senior advocate coming to listen to cases. I was interested to hear a lot of cases affecting South Sudanese women. I saw issues of child abductions. I saw issues of child custody. I saw domestic violence. And I was like, I think this is where I could use my voice. Yes, I'm somebody who can talk. I can express myself. I don't shy. If I know I have to say something, I speak it so that somebody understand or don't understand. That's not my business. But I feel like I need to use my voice to speak for the South Sudanese women. And that's how I end up coming up with a group of South Sudanese women lawyers I I consulted, and we formed National Alliance of Women Lawyers. National Alliance of Women Lawyers have done exactly similar activities which were done by the women advocate. Of course, we are all colleagues in their professions, but we are doing the same thing because South Sudan is big. And I became very interested on women, peace, and security when war broke out in 2013. We have seen the suffering of South Sudanese women, and also the war of 21 years of liberation. I've seen women doing a lot of things, helping soldiers at the time. But after independence, I was wondering, where are the women? There was no recognition. There was no national recognition of women who supported the movement. So these come with the question of women, peace, and security. Were women protected? Are women involved in the negotiation of CPA? Are women involved for the implementation of CPA? And the similar thing was likely to happen. And I was like, okay, I need to also be speaking about women inclusion in all level of leadership. Even if we have the constitution that provide 25% affirmative action at the time, the current amended constitution, I was also still feeling like there's a need to continue talking as a South Sudanese young woman who have experienced two different wars from a very young age, and at the time I was now a career woman. So it wasn't an easy journey from a young age, being a child affected by war, and also being a professional young woman who is also affected by war. Not only that, I also came from a community where women are not supposed to talk certain ways. And as a woman and as a lawyer, you are speaking on certain ways, and there's certain provisions that are not accepted because they are not part of the customs. So you see the challenge as a young South Sudanese woman who is trying to justify what law said, how law protect women, either from the family level, from the community level, come to the society, come to the leadership skill level. There are so many challenges. There are people who are in the position, but they refuse intentionally to acknowledge the role women play. So these are some of the challenges. So I personally experience challenges right away from the community where I come from. The only place I did not experience challenges is from my family, because both my parents, I was privileged, both my parents were people who wanted me to study and wanted me to be somebody who can do something for the country, not just my community. But coming to the community with your ideology, being an educated woman, you are not supposed to say things like this because you are also a threat to the customs and tradition. Things we see as harmful traditional practice. I acknowledge our custom and tradition are okay, but there are some harmful traditional practice that some of us as lawyers, young women lawyers or women lawyers general, want to speak about. But then again, they are not accepted. So you find rejection from the community. You even find rejection from women themselves, because the society will tell young women that you don't need to be like this woman. This is not how women behave. And I have interacted during my mentorship program with schools girls through National Alliance. Young girls were impressed, and they said, I want to be a lawyer, but my family said, lawyer is not a career for women. And I told them, look, there's nothing wrong with that, you see? So there are so many challenges that I personally experience, but they are more similar to what other South Sudanese women experience in different professions, being from medical, from any other profession. So it's a very long story, but I have to say, these are some of the few highlights I could say about my personal experience as a young South Sudanese woman who experienced violence from a very young age, experienced violence at the time I was a career woman, and also who has been rejected from the community levels, from within the society, by even women themselves. And I remember National Alliance is a member of African FIDA. We are members of the African Women Lawyers, that is African FIDA office. And one of the vice president for Eastern and Southern Africa told me that in Africa it's a similar thing. And for you, as young South Sudanese young women coming up at the time the country is transitioning from the old, practice to the modern era, you must experience this thing, but don't give up. So we're not going to give up. We are going to continue pushing so long as we are doing the right thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Susie, for giving us your journey, how tough it has been, and then how difficult it was for you to reach where you are, and whatever motivated you to become a lawyer. So we are so much grateful to hear from you, and then for sharing with us your experience. From here, we will go to Martha. Please, Martha, you're welcome.
Oh, hi. Good evening and good morning. Thanks for the invitation. I hope my voice is clear. Uh, I might be lost in answering the question that Stella have posed, but if I'm just to highlight on what have my journey looked like, I would say it has been very inspiring. Um, from the time I decided um, to study law, to choosing to work as a judge and to come back to practice law as an advocate. So it really has been very inspiring, challenging, but inspiring at the same time. Uh, Question with regard to what have motivated me to choose law as a discipline uh, is my father, who was a judge by the time, and all I wanted was to become a judge one day. So he was my great motivator. As much as when I told them that my family that I'm going to study law, they saw that I would have done better in doing
Please,
medicine or something else.
Honorable Martha, please, can you raise your voice a bit? Thank you.
Okay. I wish I was honorable, but soon to be a honorable.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's okay.
so I was saying, to just to sum it up about how my journey was, I would say it is really inspiring from studying law to becoming a female judge at a young age, and then later practicing law as an advocate. Uh, my motivation is my father, as I mentioned. He was a judge at the time, and whenever I looked at him, I felt inspired and motivated and wanted to do exactly what he had been doing. So I picked law as a discipline, as a career. And then faced with challenges when I was at the judiciary, and then faced with challenges now as I'm practicing law, being a female lawyer. It hasn't ceased me from achieving the goals that I've set for myself. So to summarize my journey, I would say it has been inspiring, and what motivates me to continue is that we or myself and others are providing service to people and service to vulnerable groups, and this never ceases to end. So whenever you help someone, you feel motivated that you want to help others, and the thanks that comes with this is just phenomenal. So this is what how my journey have been looking like. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martha, for sharing with us your journey, your experiences. I know being a South Sudanese is not an easy issue by itself. We've all gone through a lot in life. Being in war for a very long time, even at a young age, it was not easy for us to be where we are today, but we thank God we've been able to reach where we are. So, thank you so much for giving us your experiences. So, now we will be moving to the next question, which is have there been some surprises in your work that you've never expected, like throughout the journey? Was there something that happened that you never expected? And if it has been there, how have you been able to overcome some of those shocks. So this goes back to Miss Martha. Please tell us if there has been any surprises in your work since, and how you were able to overcome that. Thank you.
I never expected my work as a lawyer would be easy. So after graduation, I practiced law for 2 years, going to courts, litigating on behalf of clients. But then sometimes because I graduated very young, they they don't trust my judgment and abilities before they see me in court. That could be a bit of a surprise because I thought maybe since I have gone to law school for 4 years, been admitted to the bar, I'm qualified as a lawyer, and my client should trust me. But that distrust that you get from a client because you look young and you're a woman and everything. Uh, to adjudicate cases as a judicial officer or a judge, by then I didn't get also the trust of the litigants. They didn't trust my judgment as much as later afterwards. If they entered my chambers, if they look at me, they feel like I will not do the work efficiently or in a manner that an older male judge will do it. But once it's my case, I'm adjudicating, I'm giving them chance, I'm hearing them, the look changes. So maybe these are part of the surprises that I've met along the way, but my ability to change the narrative really matters. I would say that, as Susie mentioned, sometimes women themselves are challenging to us as female lawyers or other younger women, especially that you cannot do this and you cannot do that. So once before I was sitting in my chambers and then an old lady came, her case was actually referred to me. Entering my chambers, she looked at me and she asked, "I'm looking for Judge Martha," and I said, "You're welcome." And then she was like, "No, that's not you." So I was like, "Are you expecting an older version of a judge?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, but you will not find it. You will not find it here. So you rather go back to the resident judge, who is going to again assign your case to another judge of your preference that will look into your case." So these are the surprises that comes along the way. Some people are still surprised when they see me and other female advocates or lawyers doing their work in the best way that they can do it. The beginning, you'll see that they're not trusting it, but once you are fully in gear, you're there doing your work, you will start gaining their respect and trust. It's not easy, but we still keep on doing it.
Hello guys, sorry I had a challenge of internet here. It was a bit interrupted. So I think we're still in the first question, which talks about being a judge and the experiences of female lawyers. I hope Susie, Martha, and media have all gone through their experiences as female lawyers. Susie?
Yes, Stella, we have finished through
Yes.
ours. Okay, you asking me the question? Because we are in the second
I've
question.
said I hope you guys have covered the first. You guys are in this. Internet again.
Stella, are you available?
Available, Susie. I
Okay.
hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right.
All right.
So now we are
So
in the
now
third
we are in the
question.
third
So
question.
many
So
apologies,
many
guys.
apologies,
Our
guys. Our
power went off.
power went off.
By my internet.
And my internet.
Yeah, Stella, I think I'm the next because Martha just answered the second question. So if you can hear me, it's fine.
Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you
I
very
can
well.
hear you very well.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much once again. I think the second question is about some of the challenges. I mean, what surprised me, like Martha mentioned, as a young woman, there's always a way people judge you. I have an experience in 2016, 2014, 2016, 15, 16, and I was in Gudele Court. We were going for one of our clients was we were having a judgment hearing that day, and while we were waiting for the judge before our time come, the one of the ladies who does cleaning at the court, she's an elderly lady, came and found me. We were seated, and some other people were standing. And she came and told me, "Yeah, bit gum in kurside." So I just stood up immediately. You know, she does it in a very aggressive way. She like, Yani, I should stand up because I need to give the chair to another young man who is also a lawyer who was standing. So I stood up. I did not even respond to her. And my client who was in suits and, you know, very smart and giant. And my client immediately stood up and asked me to sit on his chair. And I told him it's fine. And she was asking, oh, she was asking like surprisingly why such a giant smart man give me the chair. And the guy said, this is the Molana. And she apologized to me. And I was like, it's fine. Because even if I'm not a lawyer, I did not see it was not appropriate for somebody who is sitting there already and is a mature person, regardless of the status, to be harassed by somebody working there because there is a certain way they want to see women lawyers. So this is one example that I personally experienced within the court. And like I mentioned in my first response, that even the society rejected, even women themselves rejected us. They don't even appreciate our effort to be lawyers. They don't even see what we're doing is genuine. And I think some of our colleagues who are practicing advocate can attest to this. You will see some of the business people in this country, they will never come to, you know, young women offices unless you work with another man whom they think is the best lawyer. So these are some of the challenges that the society is not yet familiar with the fact that women lawyers or women can be lawyers and they can do work equally as men. Thank you.
All right. Thank you
All right.
very
Thank you
much,
very much,
Susie,
Susie,
for the good
for the good
experience you have given
experience you
us.
have.
Of course,
Of
we
course,
female lawyers
we female lawyers we
face a lot of
face a lot
challenges
of
and
challenges and
sarcasm while doing our work.
while doing our
And
work.
I have a good
And I have
example. I
an example.
remember
I
in
remember in
2014
2015
when
when
I was
I was
I happened
I
to try
happened
a case
to try a case
of a military
of a
personnel person. So what happened was, hello, hello, yes, hello. Hello.
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
Stella, we can hear you.
Yes,
Go
so
ahead.
the experience I had was like the case was before me with a certain military personnel. So he brought his wife that the wife has committed adultery. So there were no clear evidences of adultery. So at the end, after when I'm done, I finished with all the hearings. I had the statements of the prosecution lawyers and then the defense lawyers, and I had also the lady who was accused of committing adultery. So I dismissed the case. So the guy, because he's someone who's a general in the army, started threatening the whole court. He removed his pistol and then started insulting me and without even paying respect to the court, telling us that you women of South Sudan, itu yani in an Arabic word, using a very nasty words. Like you, because you are a woman, you encourage other women to do and sleep with other men outside. So I tried to make him understand that these are procedures of the law. You know, the law says accusing a person of adultery, you must find them red-handed. He didn't want to understand that. No, I have had a lot of stories and a lot of scenarios about this woman. So he didn't want, and then started insulting publicly without even paying respect. So I have so many experiences about this kind of surprises. But with time, it has not become a surprise to me because I understand the nature of the country we are in. People lack legal awareness in whatever they do. So it is really very, very frustrating for someone who doesn't have an experience. A person may say, why would I really go through this? Why would I have? So anything is a threat in court. Lawyers, female lawyers, and then it's more especially if the case is before a female lawyer or a judge, female. So they look like they underlook the female. Like you just a Marasakit. How can you try me, or how can you dismiss my case? Do you know how much I've paid or how much time I've spent to reach here? So I have so many experiences, and this is one of the experiences. I really, really, really that day I was so shocked, and then I took it upon me to take awareness to all our people about the law. So what happened after? Whenever there's a case, I first make the people understand the nature of the case, and I always make sure that I tell their lawyers, you make your clients understand that this is the law. It's not because I'm a judge and I'm taking side or assiding a female accused, or because I'm a female. So these are some of the scenarios and the surprises. So moving forward to the third question, which talks about experiences also. Are female lawyers treated the same as male ones? What have you observed throughout your career on the treatment of male and female, including when it comes to pay? How can this change? From your experiences as female lawyers, are you treated the same with the male lawyers? Media,
Uh,
Livia?
yes, I'm with you.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's now for you.
thank you so much for once again giving me this opportunity. To my own understanding, there has been no fair treatment of female lawyers in South Sudan. I can share one experience. When I just joined my training in 2019, one day a client came to me and said there's someone who took a loan from him, some amount of money. It has been now for about 2 years, and the person has not been able to return the money. He is making efforts to call, the person is not picking. At some point, he doesn't know where the person is staying. So, what he wants me to do is to help him to give him a notice of motion, that so that the other person can return the money. If he is not returning the money, he will be able to take legal action against him. I said, okay. I got the details, so I drafted the summon, so which I gave him. So after giving him, of course, when you do the work at some point at the end, you need to be paid because, of course, you have to use your printers, your time, papers, and everything that you need to pay after the work is done. So it took like a few days. Then I requested for the payment. He told me that because when the work was done, he told me that he will be the one to take the letter to the person. I said, okay, fine, there's no problem. So after 2 days, he told me that he was not able to see that person. So that means the work that I did, he will not be able to pay it. I said, no, things doesn't work like that. You requested me to do for you something and which I delivered, and then you were supposed to pay me. This caused like problem between me and the client to the level where he threatened me just because he is a soldier, insulted me, told me all kind of words. And then that is even something that shocked me. I'm like, okay, is it the nature of work that we have in South Sudan? Do people really understand what it means to be a lawyer or what it means to do work for somebody? Why do people like using their position just to threaten others? Is he doing that because I'm a woman? Is it because if he is a fellow man, it is a fellow man? I don't think he can do that. This one really surprised me, and it was really a very big challenge to me from the start. You ask someone to do for you something, and you don't want that person to ask for the payment. And then I'm like, no, that's not how things are supposed to be done. And then you can also realize that in some of the law firms, because I do understand for females, they do not have money in most cases to have their own law firms. But what they do is they collaborate with others, colleagues, in order to be able to work. When it comes to that, and when you are working under somebody, especially a man, you realize that there is no fair pay. Sometimes they make you work extra. By the end of the day, you're not being paid. You make money, you see, you can even go to court, you handle a case, and then at the end of the day, the money is given, you will not be given anything. You draft huge contracts where money comes in, but by the end of the day, they don't even pay you any single penny. I don't know, that one is being done because you are a woman, because they call you, you are just a woman, and then they believe being a woman, maybe you have some extra source of money that you are getting, but that one is not for you. Then you ask yourself, if it is not for you, why are you even going there? Because you face challenges, also financial issues. That's why you're going there. You just don't go there because you want to go there. So those are some of the challenges that we female are facing. You can also see that when you're working with some male lawyers, when it comes to cases, sometimes they tend to, when a case comes, they normally, in most cases, assign to male lawyers, leaving you out. You're just seated there. They don't want to assign you just because they feel you are a woman. Maybe there are certain things that you cannot handle, which is not the case. It's not the case. We believe what a man can do, a woman can do. Even if sometimes you try so much to show your experience, your capacity, your ability to handle certain cases, you realize that you are just not being given an opportunity because you are a woman. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing throughout our journey, and which I believe this can change with the continuous awareness. This can change. So thank you so much. Hello, Stella, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm saying it is for you now, Susie. Are we, the female lawyers, treated the same as our male colleagues?
Thank you so much once again, Stella. I think media has mentioned everything because we both work in the private sectors and we work in with the humanitarian organizations, and these issues are cross-cutting. We're not treated equally. Trust me. The society alone does not or has not accepted that we are equal. Let me put a simple example. If I am working with my male colleague, a simple the simple way of addressing women, somebody will come and say Molana so and so cave, and then they will turn to me and say Susie. That way of addressing me alone make me feel like it's not appropriate, because if we are all Molanas, try to address us in that respectful way. So there are so many things that we experience in our daily life, including our colleagues, like my colleague mentioned earlier, our client, like my colleague mentioned earlier, including even our colleagues who are working male colleagues. Sometimes some cases cannot be assigned to you. There are women who don't go to court now as I'm speaking, not because they cannot defend cases, but because they find out that they get threatened, including Judge Stella, you mentioned that earlier. So we are not treated equally at all. And I believe this is a societal belief. We are okay with, we normalize the fact that women are not well recognized when it comes to career-wise.
All right, thank you very much, Susie. We have some comment from some of our colleagues who are watching and following up the discussion. We have Tina Peter, who commented that it is a very strong panel. Let's work hard in shaping our communities' experiences, make us stronger than we can expect. Keep the ball rolling, ladies. Thank you very much, Tina Peter. Tina Peter is also a lawyer by profession, is a very strong women and a human rights advocate. We have Fanyon Ustaz Gordon Riak, who mentioned that some women are obstacles that hinder the progress of their fellow women. It is so sad. I'll come and comment to that one later. Ustaz Gordon, maybe we'll take a minute to discuss about it with my colleagues. We have Veronica Igale, who mentioned that despite there's so many challenges there, this unity among women lawyers is also appalling. For example, FIDA in other countries is the strongest voice of female lawyers, but in South Sudan, our FIDA is as silent as a church mouse. We are having tiny female lawyers association all over the place, but they don't have one voice. This comment came in from Veronica Igale. Also, this one may require us also to have a bit of discussion about it. But thank you very much, our dear audience, for your comments and your contributions and following up live. So it's welcome, Honorable Atong Majuk.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Estella.
Yeah, you found us in the middle of the discussion, but you're highly welcome.
Yeah, I apologize for joining late, but I had a bit a situation that I couldn't avoid. But I'm fine. You just continue. Maybe you come back to me later on. I'll come and give my comments.
Okay, all right, no worries. We will continue from the fourth question. So now, Martha, it's back to you. The same question. Your experience according to the treatment between the female and the male lawyers. Is it a fair treatment between the male and the female lawyers? And what is your comment about that? Martha?
As my colleagues mentioned, I think it's an inherent behavior of inequality, for whether for us as lawyers or for any other women in a different discipline, whether you are a journalist or you are a medical doctor or you are an engineer, you will see these inequalities are there. But then what have we been doing so far to overcome these inequalities, even in the looks, as Susie mentioned, to be looked at equally before even in the payment? Because the matter of payment, especially in private practice, is because we don't have clear or indicated uh, uh, rates for services. So everybody puts whatever they think is appropriate for the services that they're providing. But for instance, when I was working with the judiciary, of course, it's an equal pay, but it's a matter of how we have been looked at in an equal way. So how can we now treat that? I earned the respect, and now everybody look to me in a way that I want them to look at me equally with a man, because a man lawyer, because I've worked hard to put myself in that position. And I think it's really an invitation for all female lawyers to prove themselves. The challenges are there. It's double challenges even for us. But how can we overcome them and ensure that we are looked at equally? I think Susie, Mehdi, and everybody who have really been trying very hard to prove themselves to the society have earned a degree of respect and equality with men. So nobody comes in today and think that Martha will not, or Susie will not have an opinion, even Atong will not have an opinion. So when they're inviting you, or when the floor is yours to talk, you are there showcasing yourself and telling them that you have an opinion. So when you're inserting that in the community, in the society, even in the legal fraternity, you're inserting the fact that as men, as they have their own opinion as lawyers, we as women lawyers also, we have our own opinion. We have opinion about your bar association. We have opinion about all the legal documents, that legislation that are in the country. But funny enough, as Susie mentioned, we are ever overlooked, even by our fellow females in other disciplines. They don't come to us as much as we will tell them that this is the right thing that need to be done. This is how legally it should go. So equality, inequality is an inherent behavior that we need to work very hard to change. But as a matter of pay, if we have an organized bar association, these things will all be sorted out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martha, for your comment and your clear examples. And adding to that also, we have a judiciary, an independent, I could call it independent judiciary, as the government always calls it. But in the judiciary, unfortunately, you find few judges in high positions. Like, take an example of High Court. How many judges do you have in female judges in the High Court? The number can be 1 or 2 judges, female judges. You go to the Supreme, there's no single judge who is a female in the Supreme Court. You go to the Court of Appeal, there's no female judge. Why is it female lawyers or judges are not competent? We have competent female judges, but why not giving them the opportunity to reach there? Why not promoting them? Knowing and noting that the female judges in the judiciary are the most hardworking judges more than the male judges. But maybe because of the conceptions and the understanding and the beliefs of the cultures that female cannot reach there. Now the seats, they're talking about equality in our constitution between a male and a female. But now there's no single equality. Look at the bar situation. Since when the bar was established, have we ever experienced a situation whereby the bar was led by a female lawyer? Nothing. The Judicial Service Commission, the Ministry of Justice, we have never seen a female minister who leads the Ministry of Justice, and so many examples of that. So these are some of the examples we're experiencing, unfortunately, in our country, and I hope our voices reaching them out, because if women are not competent, they cannot be where they are, working together with men, doing the same work the men are doing, and even more than what men are doing. So thank you. So without wasting time, we are moving forward to the 4th question, which talks about challenges affecting you in your work, and how have you been able to overcome these challenges. So Livia, it's now back to you again.
Thank you so much once again, Stella, for the opportunity. Of course, In this country, there are a lot of challenges that we are facing. As we've just even discussed, the issue of us female lawyers having opportunities to participate like in the forums that is for the lawyers, like you've so far stated, that the South Sudan Bar Association, for example. I can imagine since the creation of South Sudan Bar Association, why is it that it's always male leading? I used to ask myself these questions until today I've not been in a position to answer that. Is it because we are not able to handle that? Because I understand it's not even a political position, it is an independent institution that deals with the welfare of the lawyers. And then to some extent, I've realized that it's not even serving the purpose that it's supposed to serve. As being a bar association, it's supposed to be an institution that looks for after the welfare of the lawyers, making sure that lawyers are treated well, are treated equally. But at some point, it exists by name, but in reality, there's nothing that is happening, and this is affecting us so much. So this is something that we really need to look into and see how best we can actually handle. And then another challenge also affecting us, more special female lawyers, is that at some point we do not have like finances that will enable us to stand on our own, to have, for example, our own law firms where we can be able to handle things ourselves. So we tend to be under men or female lawyers. Those are the things that really facing us terribly, because we are not able to stand on our own because we do not have means to do that. So they tend to take advantage of us. Like we do not also have fair representations. If you go to all these ministries, say for example, Ministry of Justice, do we have a fair representation of female in the Ministry of Justice that can be able to push for our fair representations? It's not there. So there are so many challenges that we are really facing as female lawyers, but we do not at some point have an opportunity where we can express that. We don't have an opportunity where we can express that. So we need to stand firm to make sure that we really raise our voices so that we can be able to voice out our grievances, and we also have a fair representation in all the institutions concerned. Like our colleague said earlier, FIDA really need to do a lot of things to make sure that we are well represented in all the field that we're supposed to be in, because most of the institutions are being there by name, but it's not functioning. I don't know, because of the finances or whatever challenges that we are facing, but all these need sacrifices. We need to really sacrifice our time to make sure that we really stand up to raise our voices and see how we can tackle all the challenges that we are facing. So thank you so much, Stella. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Livia. I think, Susie, it's now your turn to talk about the challenges affecting your work and how did you manage to overcome these challenges.
Thank you so much, Stella. Once again, the challenges are similar, and I think it's a recurring incidents that come with how the society refuse to accept it. Some of our services, how the society refuse to accept you are qualified, how individuals also refuse intentionally to acknowledge some of the effort some of us are doing. But of course, I think Martha mentioned earlier that we work so hard to earn our reputations, to earn the respect we have, and also to showcase our expertise in this area. There are so many organizations that are on women lawyers organization, which is okay. Personally, I don't have problem with that because we have South Sudan is big and we are so many in the country and we can contribute in one way or the other. Like women in the practicings can organize themselves. That's why we have the advocates. Women in the humanitarian and their lawyers can also organize themselves and see how they can also support it through that channel. And so many other women lawyers in different part of, expertise, the path they have chosen. So, and still, even women lawyers who are working within the government institution can organize themselves. But what is important also, we need to see the situation on the ground. Some of the challenge come with funding because we don't have, our own government doesn't have budget to support some of these institutions, professional institutions, so that we do some of the activities on behalf of even the government. They don't have budget for that. For example, I mentioned earlier that I became interested to focus on women, peace, and security agenda, which is supposed to be an implementation of national action plan. And this is something that our government should even fund. But looking at that, you find out people are running after these donors with a saturated funding in the market. So finance become major issues that affect some of our effort as women lawyers to do our work effectively. Security wise, there are areas where we cannot travel because your life might be in danger. Some of the places are inaccessible, and also some women, and this is a phenomena actually, not women lawyers, especially women, when you have a small baby, you cannot travel with a 1 month old child. And sometimes you find out that some institutions don't like that. They don't even give opportunity to women lawyers because they know maybe you have a small child or you are unexpected woman, you are expecting woman, you maybe 9, 7 months, 8 months, there are certain things you cannot do. So these are all challenges that come with being a woman, not being a career woman, but being a woman alone make you become a burden of how people see you and include you in some of the activities. But of course, it's our responsibility to work so hard and prove ourselves and say we can do this. Back to you. Thank you.
Apartments.
Thank you so much, Susie. We can move now to Honorable Atong. Thank
All right.
you.
Yes, hello. Should
Yes,
I
we
take
can
this?
hear you. We can hear
Yes,
you,
yes, Atom.
Honorable.
Yes, Atom, we can hear you very well. Just
Okay.
briefly, we are starting from the first question because you have been missing the first and the second, the third questions.
Okay.
The first question goes as this. In a few sentences, tell us about your journey as a lawyer, a about your work and what briefly tell us.
Okay.
Atom,
Yes.
honorable.
Yes. Am I clear now?
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Let me hope you are. Yes.
Yes, I'm here. It's just cutting. I don't know. Is it from
Yes, you are
my
very
end
clear
or?
there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes.
Regarding the
Yes, I can
first
hear you very well, Atom. Well and
Okay.
clear.
Um,
The internet is
coming last,
yes.
yeah, coming last might not give me the chance to maybe um, give it out well, but the journey have been very, very long, and is not different from a journey of every South Sudanese who is trying to achieve a dream. The road is that rough. Um, the opportunities that are there were very limited, and a lot of things more. But I was motivated by one thing, and that is, if our South Sudanese women could do it, and
Honorable Atong, are you there? Hello? Stella, are you there? Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to our today's topic of challenges facing South Sudan female lawyers. We really appreciate you for joining us this evening to listen to our challenges, the challenges facing female lawyers in South Sudan. We really appreciate you for your time and your commitment to join us this evening. We also thank South Sudan Women Intellectual Forum for giving us this opportunity to be part of the discussion, to also share with our colleagues, our listeners outside there, the challenges that we are facing throughout the journey. We really appreciate, and then we hope the South Sudan Women Intellectual Forum will continue to give us this opportunity so that we can be able to share our experiences, our journeys, so that we can also be able to inspire those who are willing or admiring to be part of the legal profession. So we really appreciate you so much, and then we will continue to strive for better South Sudan to make sure that all people get the rights that are needed, or all our people get enlightened about their rights, especially women and girls who have been so much left outside. Most of them do not know their rights. They don't know what it means to have right in this country. So thank you so much for listening to us, and then we hope you will join us once again. And we also apologize for the inconveniences. You all know that we have poor internet in this country, and then it keeps off and on. We apologize for the inconveniences, and we hope in future it will not continue. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful morning, a good day, a blessed week. Thank you so much.